just take a few more deep breaths in the silence. Spirit of life, we give thanks that you're moving across the waters of our minds and hearts right now and throughout this class time. Clarifying the water so that we see what you would have us see, hear what you would have us hear, so that we can go forward today and live as you would have us live. We declare that we are open and receptive to your spirit, the living spirit of truth, who now fills us with delight and wonderment, insight, and peace. We give thanks for all of these gifts and claim them in your name and nature now. We all say, amen. All righty. Welcome to all of you online, Diane from wherever in the world you are, and Carol, yay, and hi Eileen and Judy from Chandler, and Elvis with us, and we've got folks here. Can you all online see the folks here? Yes, no, yes. You can see all the folks out there? Yes. No? No, you never.
No, it's pointed at you, Sharon.
Pointed at me. Oh.
Do you want me to change it? Do you want it to point to the other people?
How do I do that?
I can do it. I'll be right there.
All right. Yeah, so you guys online can see all the beautiful faces here. Well, there's one handsome like the rest of you.
July to do it.
Okay, so let's get into agelessness first, Sharon. Susie, could I say something? All right. Like you don't mind.
This is about Kate and Rick Campo. Y'all know them. They're back in one of those areas.
Oh, Kate,
Michigan.
yeah.
Where do they live? I don't know. Michigan. Anyway, if you all don't know Rick, he's the guy that looks, you know, exercises every day. So anyway, 8 years ago, he had a bone marrow transplant, and there's a problem now, and he's been fine. And so this is what Kate texted yesterday, and I've asked permission, could I share this? And they said, certainly, they need all the prayers they can get. We are working hard on restoring Rick's body to a healthy state. Not sure of the exact solutions, so we see doctors. Lots of tests, and today a biopsy. Prayers and positive energy will see us through this time. So thank you all for your prayers.
Oh, great. Well, let's do pray again then. And in our prayers, we want to include Rick Campo and also Susie, JD's partner. So Susie is having an aortic valve replaced today. They're back in Utah right now, but JD asked for prayer this morning. So let's just take a moment. And what I would like for us to do is, you may not know either of those two, some of you do know Susie and Rick, but if you could just imagine these two people and the white light, the energy, white light of spirit filling their bodies, and I will say a prayer. So God, we just give thanks right now for your presence quickened and activated and accelerated in the bodies and all of the systems, all the cells and atoms of both Susie and Rick. We give thanks that all of those organs and cells know what to do to bring perfect health and vitality. We give thanks that the body is wise and releases all that is not health and wholeness. We give thanks that divine wisdom guides the doctors and nurses to do a perfect procedure and outcome, that the biopsy is revelatory of remission and vitality and health, and that the new aortic valve is perfect, installed perfectly, functioning perfectly. And so we pray this now, seeing it done, and give thanks that it is, and we all say, amen. Amen. So are we ready to not shift the energy totally, because we're talking about health and wholeness and agelessness here. But this is something that the author, Joan Chittister, says in the book, when in the chapter on agelessness. She says, children release the child in us before it completely withers up and blows away. I hesitated to put that in there because it's quite a picture, isn't it? Before the child in us withers up and blows away. Is everything okay?
Yeah, just for some reason it's not letting me control it, but you're in good shape.
Oh, I see the picture up there. Okay.
The only thing,
So y'all,
if I might say, the only thing, having been an online user, I could always hear you better when I could see your mouth when you were speaking.
oh,
So just check that when you're,
Well, we can either have the camera that way or that way.
can they see us anyway? It looks like the Last Supper up there.
That's too far away.
Reverend Sharon, I'm going to say from my point of view, all I see is a white table with some little spots.
Right.
All right, I'm turning it back to
Right.
you.
okay. All right,
Thank you.
we're coming back to you know who.
That's good.
So my question then, here on the left is, describe the child in you. What does it like to do and how does it express? You got your hand up, Susie?
No, I didn't.
I'll start.
Good.
The child in me doesn't want to grow up. I use humor, I enjoy life, I make fun of everything, and I think that's me hanging on to trying to be 6 again, but it's not working, but I'm gonna keep trying.
Oh, yes, it's working. I'm entertained.
You think I'm 6?
Well, no, more like 13 or 14.
Those are good years.
Yes. Okay, who else? Describe the child in you. What does it like to do and how does it express?
This is
Oh.
Eileen.
Guys, get to the child. Eileen.
My child likes to just have fun and not take responsibility for everything. And sometimes my child is a brat.
A brat? Is that true, Judy?
Not really. I'm just kind of teasing.
Okay, and what does having fun look like when you're having fun, Eileen?
My most fun, I'd say, is singing and playing golf.
Golf. All right. Thank you. Who else? Describe the child in you, what it likes to do and how it expresses. Yes, Betty.
I'm with Howard. I like to, I wouldn't just say jokes, but tease my kids. Yeah. I just like to make other people laugh too, and that's how it expresses. I'm laughing and they're laughing. I think that's what we need is more joy in the world.
Yes, great. So Betty said she loves to make people laugh and create joy in the world. Great. Listen, have you got a blonde joke for me?
I have some home. I forgot to bring them.
Oh,
I'll get
please
by
do.
Sunday.
The joke I said Sunday did not go over well.
That was a joke?
Yes, it was.
At least when you say it's blonde, we know that it's going to be funny. So we didn't have a cue what the other one was going to be.
You mean Frank and Al
Yeah.
and the church potluck?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay, who else on child? Describe the child in you. Alva, can you find your child, Alva? Unmute, Alva. Unmute. You're still, there you go.
I said, can you hear me now? I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, and I say he's right here with me all the time. No, my child is angry, frightened, a lot of mixed up feelings. Then the other part side of the child, being I was raised most of my life as an only child. My child learned to play make-believe a lot. And maybe that's why I enjoy theater. That's my child. That's when I give it, the joys that it likes, things like that.
Great,
And so, that's my child.
great, thank you. And it is, children can get scared too, right? And our job as adults, of course, is what? When it comes to our scared child, what's our job?
Comfort.
Comfort them, reassure them.
Pardon?
Comfort them and reassure them.
Comfort them and reassure them. Yeah. Yeah, because the adult knows what to do and how to do it and where to stay away from any danger and how to go into joy. Okay, but let's get back to the fun part. So, the exuberance, yeah, Chris?
Yeah, the child in me, I can feel it when you're talking about it, is more of a rebel.
Uh-huh,
Like I defy adult things,
yeah,
and the child in me lives with a lot less fear.
uh-huh.
Pretty fearless.
Isn't that fabulous?
So I try everything.
Try everything?
Yeah.
Great, great.
Experience.
So I hope you all heard from what Chris said. That the child in her is delightful rebel. And adventurous, huh? Likes to try things and great. Well, yes, Nancy.
As a child, I was raised to stay clean, which meant don't sweat, to be safe, don't take risks, and take care of others. And that has lingered with me.
It still is with you, huh? To take care of others. Don't
Don't get dirty
dirty.
and be safe.
And be safe. Okay. And what does the child do for fun?
Take care of others.
Oh, great, great, okay. So Nancy said the child in her still likes to and has fun taking care of others. Great. Well.
Nancy needs to get dirty, take risks, and ignore everybody.
I agree. Howard was counseling Nancy to get dirty, take risks and ignore others. That's probably good advice. Okay, so her comment is really about not taking ourselves too seriously and to, at their best, children are pretty fearless and curious. And Susie, you need some water? No, thank you. Thank you, sorry. So at their best, children are very curious and adventuresome and trying new things. They don't really have boundaries too much on what they want to do. And I think that is what she is wanting to communicate about children. So to be around children, this quote points to be around children is a reminder of our own joy and effervescence and resilience. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was up in San Diego to see my grandson and my great-grandson, whose first birthday was that weekend, July 19th. And what a delight to be around this child who was nonstop action, fearless, climbing up the stairs. He had a toy in his hand. He was trying to go up their stairs. He's in the water and splashing around, having a grand old time. And then, of course, he knows what he doesn't like too. Like don't tie him down, make him take a nap. But I think she's saying that it's good to be around, and I have a couple other quotes in here about the age-old support. Good to be around children, to watch children anyway. So it reminds us of what brings each of us joy.
Sharon, can I make a comment?
Please.
We have a soon-to-be 8-year-old adopted Isabel. But it is good to be around. As a father, I was too busy. As a grandfather, I've got more time to watch and observe. And the one thing, another thing Isabel is unique, she's very persistent.
Aha.
No doesn't mean no to her. And I was brought up as a salesman. No is just the beginning of the conversation. It's not the end. So you can tell her no, and that doesn't mean it's over. She'll come at you from a different direction and persist until, especially with her grandfather, she gets what she wants. But that's something I like about children. They don't give up. They keep trying.
Exactly. So true. So Howard was saying, and Kathy just came in to let me know I'm dropping out too. So if you guys online can't hear me, please make some noise about it, okay? But Howard was saying that he has a little granddaughter who exhibits incredible persistence, that no does not mean no to her. I love that. It's a pain in the neck when it's you that's receiving them. Because I have a grandson like that, the one who's the father now. No never meant no to him, and it still doesn't. And that's one reason why he's a successful salesperson. But the idea that kids are so clear about what they want and don't give up on what they want, what's important to them. Anyone else on that last quote before we go on to this one? Jane.
When I'm around children, I then tell myself I was born too early. When I compare how they behave, how they manipulate, how they're given into, and I think, oh, I wish I was born now.
There's more freedom. Your parents tend to be
Oh,
less restrictive, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like someone with a loud booming voice to read this quote. Thank you, Howard.
Can I make one of those? You say there's more freedom now. I don't think so. You know, I would get up in the morning and would say, ground fight. She didn't care where I went, what I did, and where I was doing it. Now you would never say that to a kid. Where are you going? What are you gonna do? Stay in sight. Watch out for those people. You know.
True, that's true,
There's
isn't it?
a lot more controls over kids today.
You gotta have play dates, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta call up and have play dates. We were talking about that, kids and different, you know, and I had boys, and it was, you know, they went out in the morning, and you didn't see them. They came home for lunch, got hosed off, and went back out until it was dinner time. They went back out after that, but the whole neighborhood operated together, girls and boys, and it was more than fair. God knows what they did. They were building forts, and they were just the imagination, and everyone was inclusive. It wasn't, oh, you can't, you know. And I thought, what a magical time. And it's all gone, because now, you know, now watching when my grandchildren were little, and it's like, well, he can't play because he has to have permission from his mom. And then nobody went out to play. And of course, living in Phoenix, most people have swimming pools at the time, and their yards and everything are all fenced in. When my kids grew up, you know, your neighborhood was an open neighborhood. You just ran. You had everything, imagination. And I thought, what a glorious time. And I think that's all gone. That's all gone. Now it's so, you know, well, we've got to have so-and-so over, and then you've got to have, you know, it's like, oh, please. Or then you said, well, I don't want, you know, this dividing into thou shalt not. You know, it's very sad to me, because well, my boys had will never come back.
So, so kind of both sides of the coin are accurate, right?
Yeah.
And Joy and Howard were both saying there was more freedom when they were growing up, and Joy, when she was raising her boys, that there was great freedom. Kids just went out and played all day. Came in for meals and that was that. And there was no fear on the parents' part
No, not good. Never even
because
thought
it was
about
safe to let them be out who knows where.
Yeah,
And they were saying, you know, it's not that way today. There seem to be more restrictions on what kids can and can't do. However, if you talk to teachers about what it's like dealing with kids in a classroom today, you'll get a different story.
This made me think of a situation with my son Steve when he was growing up. He came in and asked me around supper time if he could ride his unicycle down to Jared's. And I said, no, you can't ride your unicycle. We're gonna have, no, he said, can I go down to Jared's? And I said, no, we're getting ready to have supper. So when supper time came, I'm expecting Steve to walk in the door and playing outside the driveway. And he didn't come. And he didn't come. And finally he walked in the door and I said, where have you been, Steve? We've been waiting for you. He said, I was down at Jared's. I said, I told you not to go to Jared's. He said, I didn't walk to Jared's. I rode my unicycle. So
Good for
I
Steve.
hadn't thought about that for years, but that's Steve in a nutshell. You tell him no, he'll find a way to get around.
Creative. That's the
Yeah.
other thing that we were saying here in the classroom, that children can exhibit incredible creativity and imagination. Their minds don't have the blocks on it that maybe adults tend to get. Howard?
I have to tell you another story. I knew a guy named Gita, a fisherman, and when he was about 12 years old, he used to hang around the docks. This was in the 30s, and nobody had jobs and money. His father had died. His mother was living alone with like 4 or 5 boys. And he was down at the docks looking to pick up a quarter here or there, what we could. The fisherman said, Gita, you want to go fishing with me? We'll be gone a couple of days. He said, sure. So the guy gave him a list to go down to pick up a slicker and boots and whatever he needed. And he goes back and gets on the boat. He goes for 3 days. He comes back home and the fisherman said, wait a minute, Gita, I got to pay you. And he paid him like $200, his share of the catch. So he goes home. His mother hadn't missed him for 3 days. She hadn't noticed he wasn't there. He came in and gave her $200 and she said, what? I mean, this was 3 months worth of living for her. He told her where he got it. She wouldn't believe him. He had to go get his friends to come in and tell his mother that he actually had gone fishing for 3 days, earned the money. But I think that was then,
Yeah,
not now.
not now. No, not now. That wouldn't happen now.
And I have one more quick comment. We probably exhausted this topic. But with my kids, that's the age of gymnastic classes, ballet classes, everything was organized. They didn't go out and run around and play. You had something to do each day of the week, which we thought was very enriching to them, but didn't give them the independence and the ability to be creative the way when we were growing up.
So, yeah, there are lots of, I want to say perspectives. It's more than that. There's some paradox here.
Yeah.
That freedom is expressed in various ways and squelched in some ways. But you know, I think about the richness of being in the ballet classes. My mom, not my dad, my mom had my sister, my younger sister and I in dance class. Well, I can still see that basement dance class in Chicago. I mean, I can still see me walking there. It was that clear. And Mrs. Wolf, I remember Mrs. Wolf, I can still see her. Anyway, it was tap, ballet, and acrobatics all in one afternoon. And I must have been getting close to be a teenager. I don't know, the hormones must have started because I talked my sister into ditching the dance classes And finally, Mrs. Wolf apparently called home and there was some trouble, but I didn't like being confined like that. I wanted more freedom. But today, as I look back as an adult on that, how wonderful of my mom to want to enrich our lives that way. And still today, I love to dance, so you never know. And discipline is so important, even as adults. You know, the discipline of a ballet class, the discipline of at 4 o'clock, we're going to ballet. So be here. You know, the building of gifts and talents, the expansion of horizons, the building of dependability and reliability and accountability that are important to adult life. Okay, so that's a little preachy, sorry. So back to this. I wanted someone to read that, and I called on Howard, but he had a comment.
Oh, okay, I'll read it. Once a society divides the human family as a matter of course, there is no family at all anymore. Instead, we have daycare for children, senior citizen complex. We have a segregated and fractured society.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we?
What are your thoughts about this?
This is Kathy. I have an observation about this. Probably the only good thing I can think of that came from the COVID and all the problems of 2020 is that a lot of the people who lived out here in Sun City left their families. And so their families were back east somewhere. Their families came back here, bundled them up and brought them home so that they were with their families instead of being alone. So they lost the great weather, but at least they're with their families now.
Yeah, a few of our folks. Thanks, Kath. And Joy, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, that's just, nobody lives near their family anymore. And, you know, so I think, and now we have these places to go. So I guess, and then apparently a lot of people have a lot of money because I'm finding out how much these senior citizen places cost per month. So I don't know, and I don't think our parents are able or willing to take or have large enough. I mean, the whole shift is grandma's there and I'm here and my kids are, you know, there, and there's not that family. I mean, I think those days are long gone, maybe for a lot of different reasons.
For different reasons.
Yeah.
So this is true, and
I was concerned about children being sent to daycare at a very early age because I think the bonding with the family was not there before the virus, and hopefully it's come back since then. But if children are not seeing family as being the most important thing in their life and they're sent to daycare, then are they going to take care of their elders when their elders are over? Are they going to care for them? Are they going to want to include them in their wedding plans and vacation plans and things like that? I'm just concerned about that.
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hope, can you all online hear what we're saying here? No. So Nancy was expanding on this quote a little bit, saying that these days kids go to daycare and they lose or it's diminished anyway, the idea, because they're being cared for by other than their parents, that whole idea, the enculturation of our parents took care of us, then we're going to take care of our parents, has been lost.
I agree.
Yeah, Betty?
Do I say my name even when I'm here? I don't know how. Okay. I think rather than society dividing the family, I think the family has changed our society because young people years ago maybe didn't even go to college, or they worked on the farm or whatever, they stayed home. Now kids go away to college, they don't want to move back to their hometown. They want to go to big town and have a different kind of a life. The daycare for children evolved because the mothers had to go back to work, so they needed a place for their kids, you know. So we have to see what we really value, and not blame the daycare for being there, but say, is there a way that we can get a better wage for people so that they don't have to have the both parents working at the same time and so forth. I was reading a story just this morning about this gal came from India. She loved America, but she missed the fact that when she was back in India, all the uncles and brothers and everybody all lived in the same village. We don't do that very much. So we've changed it ourselves.
Yes, so there's more freedom and less freedom.
Yeah. This whole thing is very paradoxical.
It is very paradoxical. Pluses and minuses, depending on your perspective. I hope you all heard Betty. She was talking about, again, addressing the idea of families being a time when families were together. Aunts, uncles, they all lived in the same city, at least if not same community. And in Bali, for example, in Indonesia, you don't leave the family. When you get married, you bring the wife back home. It's intergenerational in one house. Howard?
I hate to say it, but
Do you hate to say it?
I do, but I think money has a whole lot to do with it. And as a society, money is not always the positive that we hope it to be. I've seen families, Jane Tedford was one, her mother had Alzheimer's, she was a frail little, less than 100 pounds, curled up in a fetal system, lived for years in one bed in the living room. Her Jane's father had COPD, he couldn't walk from the recliner to the bathroom without gasping for breath. And she worked out of the home. She took care of those two for years before they finally passed on. And I've gone into nursing homes where the poor guy just sits in this dark room alone, nobody.
Yeah.
And again, as I looked at it, it looked like if they had the money, they could put him into the nursing home. If they didn't, they took care of him in their own home. So I do think as a society, our wealth is taking some of those things away.
Probably.
And with the COVID, we're hearing more that people are refusing to go back to the office to work, or refusing to go back and get a job because they enjoy being home with their kids. So there's some good things that came out of COVID, even though it's a disaster in terms of health.
Well, and Nancy was saying there's some good things that came out of COVID in that many parents are happy being at home now because they get to be with their children. And so, given this statement, as our job or something that would be spiritually helpful might be what? In other words, if this is a fact, then what's a spiritual perspective that is sort of redemptive? What might be a spiritual idea?
Well, it's Diane here. So I'll just say that what I like is down in Surprise, some of the women I know go into the schools and they're volunteering and being the grandmas in the schools. And as a former school person, that is so very helpful. You know, we're not going to change a whole society. We've normalized, you know, the minute a place called mom came in, it's like a place for mom. It's like, oh, okay, great. Mom is just going to go to this place, and it's not going back. So I think as elders, what I know for me, and I'm fortunate because I'm around my grandson. He picked me up at the airport, and we have a new little language. He's blah, blah, blah. We have this communication where we both say blah, blah, blah to each other. So got this infant and I on the same wavelength. But no, I think volunteering would be my answer. And, I know people are real busy down there and everybody's got a lot of pickleball and things they like to do, but I'm particularly impressed by the people that manage to put that in as well. Some kind of assistance to these, because it's not just individual families, it's our whole society that is fractured, because a lot of these people that have so many children and no family around, there's no one for those kids. So if you have the time to go in and volunteer, I think that's one way to address this.
Great, thank you. Who else? My invitation is to consider how might we redeem the situation, or what's the word I'm looking for? Unite what's fractured. So Diane was saying, we could as adults volunteer and hang out with kids at schools or daycare centers, lots of places. One of the things that we do here as a church is, we have our outreach team, and people are making sandwiches and bringing them to the homeless. So that, for me, that's a unification of what's fractured. In other words, we're not keeping that segment of society marginalized. We're trying to build a bridge there. Any other comments on?
Well, this is Howard. I think, what you're after is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And if you'll use that as a mantra, I live in a senior citizen community like most of us do. And I've got a neighbor who lives as a recluse all by himself. Well, I made it a point to be a friend of him. Not an easy guy to be a friend of, but I call him up every once in a while. He's about 20 years younger than me, and say, "Are you still alive? I haven't heard from you. Are you dead yet? Will you call me before you die so I can be sure?" So I just check on him every once in a while and make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
But and if we all did that, just find something to do. There's so many people out there that could use some attention.
Well, we all could
Just
too.
go find it.
So yeah, there's the idea of extended family. If your family isn't here, and for many of us here in this classroom and online, that's true. Then what would be helpful, what's helpful to me is to begin to build an extended family.
Working in the senior centers, I see a lot of the older folks who don't want to be a burden to their children. So they will stay in the retirement centers rather than going back home to their care or in their own children's homes.
Wow. So Nancy was saying that you work in a senior center?
I sell my real-time pain relief lotion in about, probably 10 centers now. So I go in and trying to help and nurture the older generation, because being as I'm 80, why I know the pain is not fun, and a lot of them have pain here. So that's my contribution to them.
Oh, great. So you do healing work with them, is that what you're saying?
Well, in a sense, I sell them, I give them samples of pain relief lotion, and then if they want more, they need to buy it from me. Oh, but I'm exposing them to the fact that there's something for their pain.
Got it. Thank
And
you.
helping them in that way.
Yes, I got you.
Reverend Sue, I have one. Reverend Sharon?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, when I was a kid, we didn't have the computer thing. Our computer to look up and research things, that was our grandmothers. You want to know about history, you want to know, they were history. That was our computer. And we don't have that no more because we live in a fast track cell phone, computer, laptop world. And grandpa and grandma just aren't, they're obsolete in a sense, as far as, I think we've moved away. Even kids, I hear my friend, she has several grandkids that go, and she tells me, she talks to them in that way, and they don't even really have a good communication with each other. They'll sit right next to each other in text messages. They don't, like when we were kids, one of the things, like I said, well, our daycare, I guess, was kindergarten for me. And but when you want to go play with your friend, you had to go out of the house, get your bike, go down the street and get him. And then then you want to go get the store and get a soda, you had to ride your bike to go get that with your friend. And I can remember my family came from Texas, and they're very traditional many years ago. And I can remember, I don't know how old they really were then. I was a kid, so when I can remember, so maybe they might have been only late 50s or 60, but that would have been old to me, I guess. Because of what these people looked old, because they worked hard, they lived hard. And a lot of people, I don't think, lived the way they ate, lived, and worked hard as long as we do today. And I don't think we thought of it as much. I mean, like I said, it was more ground, like they said a while ago. I can remember too, being a Southern people, we were very family oriented. I remember when they came from Texas, I don't remember, but they came from Texas. They came as groups. They lived together in Arizona when they moved from Texas. They went to California, and little by little, though, a generation or two, I don't even know who the relatives are anymore.
Right. The mentality is different.
I was going to say, I had talked with a friend on the phone yesterday for about an hour. She has MS, she has kidney failure, and she did have pneumonia that I think is gone. But her kids have totally rejected her. Her ex-husband threatened to take away her dogs, to send someone down here to take away her dog. She said if they do that, I'm stopping the dialysis. And then I have another friend who is estranged from her kids. They have rejected her. Now, I don't understand what's going on, because why in the world would someone do that to their family?
I don't know, but what do you know is the answer? What's the only thing or the best thing that we can do for people we know who are in situations like that?
Care for them.
Pray. Care for them and pray. Pray. I mean, think about it yourself. If you hear someone say, I'll pray about that with you when you're having a challenge, doesn't it sort of lift your energy? Certainly advice doesn't help, right? I mean, we can't solve those kinds of family problems for others, but we can pray for people who are in that kind of pain. Okay, I'm going on to immediacy now. Take a deep breath. And Lowell Thomas is quoted here, and he said, the secret of my vigor and activity is that I have managed to have a lot of fun. So now we're getting out of the fracture and back into fun, which is also so important in the midst of what we were just talking about, right? Whatever washes up on the shores of our life, whatever the circumstance, we can pray, we can have fun, do something that makes us happy. So how do we have a lot of fun?
Spend time with Cleo.
Yay! There she is in all her glory. Hi, Cleve. Oh, Lordy.
This is Eileen. In our family, we were game players. We always were playing a game and we did a lot of things together. And we, you know, go outside and play like everybody said. But if we were inside, we were always playing a game of some sort.
Great, great. We did too at home. My mom and dad had all kinds of board games for us, and then we would play poker at night. My mom and dad and the kids.
This is Carol.
There you are, Carol.
I always liked art and crafts and that type of thing. And just recently, I have a friend that's in her 80s and she is a good artist. I invited her over and we painted the yard, you know, decorations in. We brought them in. We had like gnomes and bunnies. we painted them up and she did the faces beautifully. I almost don't want to put them back in my yard, but we had so much fun. And I took a picture of her and sent it to my sister. And she said, your friend looks like a little kid. I said, we both felt like little kids just playing around and, you know, deciding how we were going to paint these things. And we were so happy. It was a wonderful day. We're going to do it again.
What was that? So doing something fun like arts and crafts with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Betty?
That's why we're so fortunate living in some cities, because you have your choice of so many things, not less during last year, of course, but they're all opening up now. And I think when you wake up in the morning and you think, you're not thinking, oh, I have to do this. You're thinking, oh, good, today is the day where I go here. And that's the difference between
Great.
your attitude.
True.
I write responses to this blog, and they were talking about your life and how you look at your life regarding art and so on. And I said, I remember when I was younger, I used to love to finger paint. And it was so good to smear it all around, and you could make birds and you could make flowers. And if you didn't like what was happening, you could just wipe it all out. And I said, I have taken that lesson into mine, and I could make a change. I could choose to change. And I take that lesson into my life now. If I don't like the way things are happening, I can make a change and do something else. So people respond on this blog. And when I wrote the story, I said, do they still sell that stuff? So somebody wrote back and said, yes, they still sell it, but they sell the kind now that you can do on your kitchen counter. And you can make all your, you know, paintings and whatever. And then you can just wipe it away. You don't even need any special paper or anything. And as far as artwork, it's nice to go to some of these classes here. But I remember I was doing ceramics for years, and there's just that many cookie jars you can make that you can give away to people, you know? So when you don't want to be doing artwork for giving it to anybody or saving it, now they say you can do finger painting right on your kitchen.
Yahoo! Did you all hear Betty? Finger painting. She's talking about finger painting and how you could, in those days, I remember finger painting. And if you didn't like it, you wiped it away and started all over. What a great metaphor. Who else?
It's Diane. For me, it's music.
Uh-huh.
And I have a story to share. So I got my ukulele in surprise. I got a tenor ukulele because it's my favorite sound. It's a little deeper. So I get it home. I had totally forgotten about my basal thumb arthritis. So I get it home and my thumbs are hurting. And it's like, oh, damn. Sometimes it's a little harder to have fun as you're older because you're working against stuff. So, but I decided I'm not giving up. So I looked into it, and I'm gonna have to get a different ukulele, the soprano one, unfortunately, because I don't like it as well. But they make a device that you can put on there and press the chords, because I've already been buying music for my grandson, and you guys know I like to sing, and I'm determined that I'm going to make some songs for him. It's going to be on It's going to be on the ukulele, whether my thumbs hurt or not.
Fun, how fun.
Yeah, exactly. Little harder when you're older, though. I related to the quote about drying up and blowing away.
Thank you. Who else? Having fun.
Yes, I am going to go kind of on the other end of this because fun, I've had so much fun in my life. I've enjoyed the different eras. I've worked hard and I've had some devastating things happen, but I've really had fun. So at this age, I'm kind of surprised I'm alive because you just pack so much in. It's like, I didn't think I'd ever be this age and still be able to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't on my agenda in my 20s and 30s, to be here at this age. And that's great, but I didn't really prepare for that. That's okay, you know? But it's a thought of having a fun life and
A fun life. And I don't know, think about this. I've noticed that in recent years, what is fun for me gets very simple. Fun for me is a hike. Fun for me is looking at, every night I like to go out on clearer nights and look at the stars. I just love looking at the star formation. So it's simple things that bring me such pleasure. I love to call my family and friends and sing happy birthday. Sing. And I don't sing. I only sing for happy birthday and to myself. And I sing to Cleo too. I have a Cleo theme song that I sing to her. Cheer, cheer, cheer. Yes.
Are you going to sing, Sharon? Are you going to sing us a little? Come on.
Yeah, come on. Cleo can, Patrick can bring you Cleo. Oh. And sometimes every morning on the way to work, I sing the St. Francis prayer to myself. It's not part of my fun life. I'm just saying when we're talking singing. But yesterday was my granddaughter-in-law's birthday, so I sang to her happy birthday. And it makes people I sing to happy. They don't have to love my voice. It's just different, right? It's different. Look who's calling and singing happy birthday. For my son's birthday last year, he was in Hawaii this year. I took my clarinet to San Diego and we had a big party at his house. And when it was time to bring out the cake, I pulled out my clarinet and played happy birthday. Now, for me, that's fun because I'm creating memories for other people as well as myself, right? My son somewhere down the road can say, oh my God, and my mother played her clarinet for my son. So, fun. Gotta keep laughing, it's good for the health. Talking about, I mean, this is immediacy, to laugh easily, have fun right now. It's also it contributes to not aging. It's a youthing practice. At your age can be useful advice when you're 17. It's a mistake when you're 77.
I have a comment on
Yeah.
that. 2 weeks ago, I had two friends send me emails about situations in their house. They both have husbands who are 80. The one husband was out in his golf cart and was heading home, I guess. At any rate, when he pulled out into the street, he didn't see a car coming. He was hit by a pickup truck, knocked out of the golf cart, was taken to the trauma center. So when his wife, he didn't show up for supper, she couldn't call him because he left his phone home on the table. So she started looking and she drove past the golf course and saw his cart sitting there and a policeman standing by. Oh, first she called around Then she went to the hospital here. And then she sees this policeman and he said that he was at the trauma center. So she finally caught up with him. Luckily, he didn't have a concussion, but he's all banged up and bruised. And this was a couple of weeks ago, and he's still having problem with addressing some wounds and so forth. So not that he's going to give up golf, but you do have to be careful. The other call came from friends back east. He just turned 80, and he still was playing pickup basketball with a bunch of buddies. He got knocked down. He started bleeding because he's on blood thinners, and he had to go and have some stitches and so forth. And she said, we don't like to say about, well, for your age, but he said, maybe I should start thinking about what I'm doing. So we decided that we can say within reason. You can do whatever you want to do within reason. Don't go run up and down the basketball court, and if you're driving the golf cart, be careful. But still have fun, but be careful what you're doing, right?
So I don't know if you online
Oh.
heard, but Betty was saying, she was sharing stories of a couple of friends who, one got hit on the golf cart by a truck because he wasn't looking. And the other was at 80 years old, was playing pickup basketball. I love it. And fell down and got injured. So it's a mistake when you're 77 to act like you're 17, I guess is the point there. Any other comments on this? It's a mistake when you're 77 to act your age, is what this is saying. In other words, I'm 77. Am I acting like I'm 77, or do I still have a youthful perspective on life and youthful approach to life?
I think that all depends on what you think 77 means. I don't think it means old anymore. Now that I'm way on the other side of that.
Great. So I guess at any age, right? At your age, when you get to be a senior citizen,
You can still be. I just started line dancing 3 weeks ago.
great.
It's killing my hips, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Betty just started line dancing, is what she said.
And I'll be 85 next month.
Yay, you. Howard.
Howard, I think, as you're alluding to, age is a relative thing. There was a sign we used to have on my garage door. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? And again, like Betty says, what are you supposed to act like at 77? Maybe I'm not 77. Maybe I'm 60, or even though my chronological age says I'm 80. Well, who knows? But you should act the way you want to act. I mean, don't drive your golf cart into moving traffic, but do whatever you think you can do.
Do what you think you can.
Regardless of how old your birth certificate says you are.
Well, I think another thing, at least for me, is to keep learning, and you said it too, Chris, try new things like line dancing, anything, a new card game, another place to golf, Eileen, a new golf course to conquer. Jane?
Well, as I say, with age comes wisdom. The part that bothers me or concerns me about this stage in life is what our bodies were designed to wear out. Some of that's on purpose. So therefore, when you think I'm fine, but all of a sudden someone's bones are thinner, all of a sudden this, and it's all part of just what happens. Some people can't see as well. In their mind, they're still okay, but it's saying, how can I work within, I have a plot with my housemate. I am very capable of going up on this ladder that's not the wide steps, but I know if I ever fell off the ladder, I would be the first one to be stupid on my head. So you need to do it, even though it works. You have to be extremely careful and just really be aware of what you're truly capable of. And there's a lot of hidden things. I was in independent living for 5 years and been gone now for a year and a half. But boy, can you see all the things that can happen to people? A lot of people have have visual problems, hearing problems, but they present like they're normal until you get to know them. But that affects what we're really capable of doing.
So the watchword is be wise.
Yes, and know that there are some limitations. You know,
Well, yeah, so it's acceptance too, and it's back to the paradox, right? Couple things are true. You gotta live and have fun no matter what your age, and keep a youthful outlook in some ways because it's anti-aging. And then you need to be wise about your own capabilities at any given stage. Both are true. Okay, I'm moving on.
Susan is.
Oh, what?
Just one thing.
Susie.
Her grandson, who's living with us since April, 25-year-old. It was a good compliment. He said he was talking about old people and he said, oh, but not like you two, you're not like them, you're not old.
Yay.
It's a great compliment. Yeah. Remember what he said?
No, I didn't
He
hear it.
doesn't say much, but now and then he says stuff.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
It's encouraging. So Susie was saying her grandson was talking about old people and said, but not like you two, you're not. Okay, so.
That's a sweet child. I like that child. He's sweet.
He's 25.
Oh, well, he's a sweet adult.
So how about this one? Who will read this for us? Thanks, Kev.
living well has something to do with the spirituality of wholeheartedness, a time to be living with eager expectation of its goodness or not dread of its challenges.
I love that.
Yeah.
Living well has something to do with the spirituality of wholeheartedness. What do you think about that one? What's wholeheartedness anyway?
It's like doing the hokey pokey. You got to put your whole self in.
That's it. That's it. I'm not happy and I'm all in. Yeah. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna give myself to it. Anybody else? All right then. So
Joy had her hand.
Joy.
I was just thinking, I'm new to Unity, which is very, very different than anything I've ever experienced. But the good thing about it is it's made it easier to transition into being old. And because it's just different. It's not about, but it's, I don't feel old. And I don't think I act old either, I've been told. So, but I found that to be really cool because I feel a lot younger with the mentality of unity than in other types of, say, religions or organizations that I've been with, because I've been in a lot of different things. But unity is like, wow, I wish and that's, I didn't I know this 20 years ago, you know how much life would have been, but I didn't even hear of unity until I moved here. I had no idea what it, and I'm learning, and it's like, wow, but I wish I'd have known this a long time ago.
Amen. Thank you. I would like you to testify to that on Sunday. I think everyone needs to hear that. But I felt the same way, Joy.
Yeah,
when I found
really,
unity.
wow, life is so easy. I was raised just, it was miserable and it was mean. And it was all about, just so different. It's like, wow, it doesn't have to be that way. But why am I learning it now? Because I'm on the other end.
Because it's helping you now.
I know, but it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So the spirituality of wholeheartedness, I just love that, because speaking of unity and what we teach, is the energy that God is, as best as we can each imagine it, is the energy of the divine God. Half-hearted? Or halfway, or limited?
No.
No, because in unity we teach a limited, God is limitless good. God is limitless love. God is limitless wisdom. There are no boundaries around the goodness of God. So what does that tell us about ourselves and our life?
There's no boundaries around us, right?
To stop our joy or our wholeheartedness, any limits that we set begin where? In here, yeah. I mean, taking into consideration any physical changes in the body. If we begin to focus our thinking on what I can't do, guess what we'll get more of? What I can't do, because that's the spiritual law. So we focus on what we can do and what we love to do and what's fun for us to do wholeheartedly. Boy, could we use that after a year of the pandemic, right? Okay, anybody else on that one? Diane.
I love what you said about going out and looking at the stars, because for me, I can get caught up in that thinking of the things that I used to be able to do when I traveled all over and did all those things. And who's to say those things are better? I mean, what's important for me is the consciousness about being in the moment and how do I find joy in that moment? Is it going to be something as simple as smelling a flower or playing with my cat, or and not getting caught up in that thinking of, when life was so much easier, because there are challenges in old age, for sure. Some people are fortunate not to have health challenges, but many of us do. And it's all about working around those challenges and catching the thinking for me. So that's what I think of wholeheartedness is, that not to let my head rule the whole system, that I've got a spirit, I've got a body, I've got loved ones, I've got lots of ways to access the whole spirit. Instead of that little head that can go and go and go. I don't know if anybody else has one of those, but they can really drive you crazy,
Yeah, I do know.
Can I make a comment on what,
Please,
who was that?
that was Diane.
Diane, yes, Diane. She's saying find joy in the moment. 2 times a week, I have to take the garbage out at night. And when I do, when it's dark, if it's like around 10 o'clock or so, I look up at the stars, check out where everybody is. I say, Mr. Moon, where are you tonight? Oh yeah, you're over here. And I just talk to them as if there's somebody out there listening. But I don't know, it just makes me feel good to interact with the universe like that.
I believe the universe is always interactive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And talking about going out and looking at the stars, I've been in places, and even when I just focus a little bit, do you know the sky is a blanket of stars?
Yeah.
Trillions and trillions. It's so amazing, so amazing.
Let me just quickly say, we went on a houseboat trip up at wherever. And we went out in the middle of the night up there, and I looked up and it looked like somebody threw granulated sugar.
It's true. It's so amazing. And one time I was in, it was near outside of St. George, Utah, at I was doing a little vacation at a resort spa that was quite extraordinary. We had a lecture from a university professor on astronomy, and he took us out into the desert where there is no ambient light. And we all saw one shooting star after another. I mean, I couldn't turn fast enough to see all the shooting stars. And, it gives me chills to even talk about it. It's just, life in the universe is amazing. So here we go. Still immediacy. Life is not simply what happens to us, but also what we ourselves make happen. What would you like to make happen is my question. Here's what I'd like to make happen. I would like an extraordinary fireworks display that I can see on Sunday. That's what I would like to make. Come on, y'all. What would you like to make happen in your life or in the universe or in unity?
This is Eileen. I like fireworks too, and actually I'm gonna see them at the D-backs game on Sunday.
For whose game?
Game, the baseball game.
The Diamondbacks?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My friend Bonnie, her sister, and her brother-in-law who just passed away a few months ago, they're the attorneys for the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. So they have front row seats. So we'll be going to the game, and we have valet parking, and then they wait on you when you sit there and bring your food to you. You don't have to go up to the stand, and there's special restrooms as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, how fun is that? Okay. Who else? What would you like to make happen? Howard?
This word keeps showing up immediately. I'd point out the difference in Susan and I. She is capable of living in the moment. I'm not. I use as an example, I used to fly a lot for work, and I'd get on the airplane, I'd go to Houston or whatever, get the rental car, go to the hotel, get the customer, go back home and wonder what was out there. She would get on occasionally, we would go out together, she'd get on the airplane, she'd have to sit by the window seat. She'd have to look out, she'd be under, oh, look at the clouds, oh, the crop circles. She would see things that I never looked at. I'm sitting there worried about, oh, we gotta fly through a land, I gotta change concourses, I gotta get the rental car, I don't see anything. She's out there smelling the roses as we're wandering through life. And she still does that to this day. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm too worried about the dreads of life.
Responsible.
But that's the difference between individuals. I constantly struggle to live in the moment, to see what she can see, but I miss a lot.
Well, thank you for sharing that. You miss a lot. Does he miss a lot, Susan?
Does he miss all that? Well, I didn't know he missed all that. But then he's the opposite, we're yin and yang, so.
That's it, that's it. He brings the planner. Have you taken the Myers-Briggs?
Oh, yeah, I forget, I just looked at it yesterday. I'm INFP, but I forget which one, something with a J.
He's a J, of course he is, and you're a P. So the J is the planner, and the P is, let's see what's gonna happen now. No, I don't want to plan, let's just see. Are you listening, Kathy? Oh, I used to have a saying, can't get beyond this room. Make a vow with me right now. You will not pass this beyond this room and beyond this computer. My mantra when I was at one of my churches was BJ or go away. BJ or go away. I mean, I made a joke of it, but being surrounded by P's, it's hard to get some, well.
But I'm a P. You don't want me to go away.
Never would. Oh my God. But I don't know why that started, because I was working with a couple of P's who interfaced with my J in awkward ways.
But
Yeah.
I've so needed the peas in my life. They are so essential. Essential, Kathy.
It's so essential, let me just say that, it's the balance of life.
Yeah, I use the urban style frame, and usually opposites like you two attract. Left brain, right brain, if you want to go that way, or the Kathy Colby's, the um, um, fact finder and the follow through on the left side, and the quick start and the implementer on the right side. And so there's a need for both. And we
Absolutely.
need to take advantage of each other's strengths and not worry about the weaknesses. And Kathy Colby would say in business, you need to recognize what your style is and then attract other people who can do the things that you're not good at.
Exactly. And I mean, on a personal level, and I imagine if we all took the Myers-Briggs today, that there would be more of a balance of the two. And are you all familiar with Myers-Briggs? So it's either you're an extrovert or an introvert, you're sensing or intuitive, you're thinking or you're feeling, you're judging or what's the perceiving. And it's like yin and yang come together in a balanced mind and life. So extremes, we discover are the best answer all the time.
This is Kathy. When I worked for Perot, I was on a team that we weren't as technical as most of the people on Perot. We were the interface between the user and the technicians. And there were about a half dozen of us on that team. And our boss one time had us take a test to see if we were left brain or right brain, to see how we needed to balance the team. We were all right in the middle. Exactly in the middle, all six of us. And then he said, well, this does make sense because we need to understand the technology, but we also need to talk to people and get them to get their jobs done. Oh, Max here. So anyhow, that was just my comment.
And how did that work? Where you were all in the middle?
It was a great team because we were all fulfilled. I mean, we were doing what we were supposed to do for that particular team. We couldn't be too technical because we would lose the users, but we had to be technical enough in order to be able to help the users.
Right.
Good.
When I was at the Creative Problem Solving Institute 1 year, one of the activities they did was to give us the Myers-Briggs, and then they placed all of the ones with a P together, all of the ones with a, I want to call it fact finder, but that isn't what it is in the Myers-Briggs. And I was in a group of Ps because I'm an INFP, and we could not make a decision as to what we were going to do because we didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings in the group.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the balance is so important, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
So we kind of got away from what would you like to make happen?
I just have one last comment on that. I think respect is what's important because, you know, what Kathy's talking about is consciousness. You had consciousness with your talents and how to relate to other people with those. And I've had to facilitate lots of teams with all kinds of personalities. And the basic thing is to respect and to be conscious of your role and to be loving and appreciative of everybody's skills. So before we moved on.
Well said, and it is the resolution to unresolved conflict. Do you know what a conflict resolution is? To really be able to listen to one another at a level of open-heartedness and open-mindedness, even though everyone sees from a different perspective. So yeah, respect, and it works. I'm going to close. We have nostalgia, and what was the last one? Spirituality to do, but we'll do that next Wednesday. I'll pick up where we left off here today, and then touch on 4 other topics in the book. So a happy 4th of July. Sunday, we're having a big day here. Big day. Come on back, Diane. We're gonna have hot dogs and potato salad and watermelon and ice cream. Of course, and then we are gonna have a service too. At 10:30. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun day, Right, Kath? Fun day. Okay, let's close with prayer. Any final comments before we close, Howard?
Is next week the last week?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're gonna be on break after that, class-wise, till September. Everyone goes on summer vacation. Yeah. So we take a deep breath, close your eyes for just a moment. And God, we give thanks for this rich discussion and the rich sharing. We give thanks that all of these words are working within us and around us now as blessing. And so we go into the rest of our day with a sense of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. Thank you, God. Amen. Thank you all. Diane, for where you are, a great one. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all of you out in Chandler. Woo. Oh, good. Carol, thanks for coming back home.